Court does call the case. People's State of Michigan versus Sean Caldwell. Counsel, state your appearances, please.
Good evening. For the record, Jonathan Evans on behalf of the people. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Joy Gaines, Senior Assistant Public Defender, working on behalf of Mr. Caldwell. Sir, would you please state your name?
Sean Rudolph Caldwell.
All right. Date and time set for prelim. There is a motion. I guess you have defendant's response to the motion that I have in front of me, but there's a motion to proceed by forfeiture or pursuant to 804B6. So again, I just want to make sure I've got this right. So if the prosecutor points out 3 calls, says here are these 3 calls. Defense counsel can't double check those 3 calls, or as Ms. Gaines is trying to do in this case, give context to those 3 calls. She may not be disputing the calls at all, but she can't give context to them because in this mass of 100 calls, she's got to find those calls because they don't come over in order, right? I mean, they don't come over in some chronological order.
Not that I can ascertain. There's nothing that seems to me that there's any crime.
So I see you shaking your head, Ms. Gaines. I just want to be clear. So if you click on the first link, that could be a call from, and then you click on the second link, those calls may be unrelated to, like, they're not chronological. It may not be that next call. It could have been a call way before.
And as it's stated in their motion, that, and I believe that this is common, that people, because they may only have so much money or whatever, use other people's numbers. There are clearly at least 2 that I'm certain are not Mr. Caldwell. But again, and
Are not Mr. Caldwell.
and this is Caldwell. I'm certain because it's a Spanish speaking couple and he's not. So that's in there too. And so because they're pulling from
His pen.
his pen, or I'm not sure, but whatever it is, because of the sharing, there are things that are completely unrelated to the case.
Okay.
Besides the.
So even if I were right now to try to fashion an order, just say, provide the date and time for the calls that occurred within this particular date range, you'd have to go back and do that.
Yep.
And then get them to Ms. Gaines. Do you know the date range?
I do not know the full date range. I'm assuming it's from the time of his arrest to our September 19th court date. But
and you would need all of those to place context, is what you're telling me. How long is it going to take you to do that?
For all, if I may just, I see the court's point. If I may just elaborate my point of view on it.
Sure.
Our motion makes mention of 3 calls up to August 15th. I think that August 15th, maybe a couple days thereafter, would really be the focus of, was there any wrongdoing from August 5th to August 15th, 17th? I think that shorter.
I see what you're
we
saying.
get all the context that there would be, because we're not making mention of anything that happens after that. So whatever context might exist should have already been, logically would have already been, the context would be there within those calls.
Your Honor, that's nearly a whole month before the court date. That I think that in itself.
A month before.
For the court date where she was subpoenaed, Mrs. Caldwell was subpoenaed to appear on September 19th. How can we take a couple of phone calls?
I see.
When it's more than a month before she's actually.
What's your date range?
So I would want it through the September 19th.
From August 9th through
I believe.
August 5th?
That's the date of the incident.
Through September 19th. And that's the 100 calls. basically,
I mean,
give or take.
if I'm able to, reduce it down to her number, I mean, it will be, that means weed out the commissary phone calls, weed out when he's calling inmate information services, that'll take it down a little bit. We're probably talking about, at that point in time, maybe 60, 70.
Okay, so let's say there's 60 to 70. I mean, I think Ms. Gaines makes a good point.
Sure.
Up to the time that basically she would have been subpoenaed to appear. So those 60, how long did that take you to do?
Court gives me to the end of the week. I mean, I can really bust and try to get it done.
Okay. And then once that happens, then you, Ms. Gaines, have to listen to them, right? Formulate. Okay. All right.
Yeah, again, I would argue that, this is information that we should have been provided from the beginning. And that.
Well, I agree with you, except nobody up until today let me know that this was the process, that this was the stop, right?
I apologize. I didn't realize that my argument last time was unclear, because this is what I was arguing.
Well, you were arguing the context of it.
I could not tell the context because of the numerous calls, and that there's some in Spanish and that some is commissary. That
right, but no, I understood the notion of the context of the call. What I didn't understand is you can't place the context because you don't know when these calls. I mean, I had no idea that you get 100 calls. You have no idea what order they're in. They're just coming at you. I think certainly if I had heard that, I would have been addressing that at our last hearing. When was that? Last Tuesday. So here's what I'm going to do. This is because this is the only way I can. Today's what, the 23rd? You need to get those done. And I'm not saying by the end of the week. I'm saying by the 26th, so that they're in Miss Gaines' hands. The 26th is about 3 days from now. By the end of the close of business Thursday, they need to be in Miss Gaines' hands. Miss Gaines is then going to have, and I'm just splitting the time frame in half. That's all I'm doing, folks. There's no magic to this. Then that way, Miss Gaines will have the 27th, 28th, 29th, and 30th. And at some point, she has to kind of communicate with Mr. Caldwell about what she sees, so that, because he's going to, and I don't know this for sure, but he's also going to be giving context to what these calls mean with her. But she doesn't even have the order. And then I'll hear the motion and do the exam on the 31st. That's the best that I'm going to be able to do, folks, because I don't have the information here.
Just listen to those 3 calls. We just went through these yesterday. The phone call.
Sir, you got your law degree where? Where'd you get your law degree? Because you got one of the best attorneys in the county standing there next to you arguing this case, and you want to argue it yourself.
I'm just saying we have it.
Well, if you want to argue it yourself, then I'll not pay attention to what Ms. Gaines said, and then what I can do is I can grant their motion and we can proceed right now. Is that what you want to do?
I mean, that's about the most unfair thing that.
That would be unfair, which is why I'm not doing it.
Why are you threatening me with an unfair?
Because I don't know why you're talking to me.
This is most absurd.
Okay, all right. You're going to come this close to contempt. So I'm going to tell you just to be quiet. I'm 30 days. 30 days. He's got 30 days contempt. I told him to be quiet. He can keep talking if he wants. You want to keep talking? You want to keep talking?
You want to answer your question? You're asking me questions.
Mr. Contempt,
He's got 30 days contempt. Take him out. I've given you the schedule. That's what we'll do. This is adjourned to the 31st. '26, close the business. Then you've got your argument, and this is adjourned to the 31st.
Just a moment.
Yeah, I just want to check one thing with these guys because I think there was a childcare issue on the last day, and I just set this on Halloween, which means you got little ones, which means they've got to go places. That's going to be a difficult day for you guys, right? Is it going to be difficult all day for you, or what?
They handled early, I think. But
No, I hear you. I hear you. If I could, all right. So I'm gonna just do this way, and you're gonna hate me for this, but that's okay. I've been hated before. I want because these guys have been here 2 times while we've been arguing the motion. On the 31st, let's try to get them handled quickly in the morning. Okay. Or better yet, why don't we do it this way? Can they be on call?
I have no objection to that.
All right. Because that way, gentlemen, here's what I'll do. I'll hear the motion so you guys don't have to sit through this. And then you just be on call with the prosecutor. And if we need you, then we can get you down. How's that sound?
I don't mean to bemoan the point.
But you're about to.
I'm about to. You've given him the 30. Are we in a rush to have it on the 30?
I'm in a rush to have it unless you guys can agree, because I'm sure Miss Gaines is going to try to get me to set aside that 30 days.
I imagine you would.
So,
Just trying to
Yes.
get as efficient as possible.
all right. His bond will continue. Thank you.